but I guess they're going to have to get a handout and read it for themselves. Everybody ready? All right, so let's go for it. Okay, so now, tonight we're going to talk about how to invest the money God bless you with. And, we're going to have, 3 discussions. And it's going to be a little bit longer than normal, so that's why one thing we started on time, but we may be here an hour versus 45 minutes, especially if you got questions. So we're going to talk about discussion number 1, steps to take before you start investing. How to invest small amounts of money wisely in financial biblical scriptures. We always use scriptures, even with the financial classes. The Bible is full of scriptures that talk about wealth, money, stewardship, and assets. Mostly, it talks about stocks and crops. Those are assets. And so we take some of these concepts, these scriptures, and we're going to apply them to today's modern world. So it makes sense. So the opening scripture is Proverbs 24, 3 and 4, King James Version, Proverbs verse 24. Chapter 24, verses 3 and 4 for those who's listening. The wisdom is in house built, and by understanding it is established, and by knowledge shall the chambers be filled with all precious and pleasant riches. And so today and tonight and the future, as we go through this, it's all about you learning and having the knowledge so you can get some of these pleasures and riches, I hope, which is maximizing the money that God has blessed you with. That's the whole point of this. I want to show you how to take your money and make it grow quicker than just sticking it into a savings account and just looking at it. But one thing about this hands-on is you got to work at it. It's something that you're going to have to look at maybe every other day, maybe, I look at mine at night. I see what happened. It don't take, some people used to doing it don't take me but 5-10 minutes to make a decision of what I'm going to do for the next day. It don't take long, because and I'll show you that, whether I buy or sell something. And I pull the trigger. I don't even, once I got the thing, show you how I got it set up, I don't even think about it. I just hit the button. Boom. That's it. Because once the concept shows me what to do and the numbers add up, I just hit the button. And then the question is how much to put in there. That'll be up to you. But we'll talk about that as we go along. Now, if you got any questions as we go along, Brother Tony got the mic, so don't wait, at the end. I'd like to ask y'all questions that'll go through anyway, but I don't want to wait till the end for you to have questions. I want you to ask the questions as they come to your head. All right, introduction. Learning how to invest can be quite intimidating for first-time investors. Investing is not just for the wealthy. Now, we're going to talk about all type of investments tonight, because you may be interested in doing some other stuff. But the main thing is the stock, picking out stocks, picking out investments so you can invest in something. But you got to decide whether or not you want to hold it. I don't hold it if numbers not working right for me. If I buy something and I haven't made money in 31 days, I'm going to sell it. And then I take that money and buy something else. Because I got mutual funds that I've been investing in for years. I use those to buy and hold. But for this type of account, it's going to be trading. I believe a brokerage account is supposed to be for trading, not just holding. If you want to hold something, then you get your IRA and your 401k for that, or you use mutual funds. So, because you're just putting the money every month and you just let it go. But when you have a brokerage account, you got to monitor it. Because you don't want to come back a month later and everything then went to pot because you ain't been looking at it. So, and also, it's going to be three rails to this. One, the class tonight. 2, the hands-on, and 3, the follow-up. So if somebody got a question, they want to. They got a question, they set the count up. And the count you got to set up is the one I use, because I know that one by the back of my hand. I done had this account for a while. But this last year is when I said I'm going to start trading the account, which is what I was telling you about. And I did pretty good. So now I feel comfortable with passing this on. Before I would, hold stocks and then just wait, after a period of time to see if I'm going to keep them. Sometimes I hold them for a year. They weren't making money, but I'm not doing that no more. If it ain't making money in 31 days, I'm getting rid of it. And then you buy something else, and then you go through the same process. And I'll show you how to pick things to buy, how to know what to buy. So you won't be out there guessing unless you just want to buy something that like Home Depot, Walmart, Amazon. You can do that, but also if you want to do that, it's up to you how you want to handle it. And and one thing about us, we buy stuff all the time from different places. I mean, don't y'all have your favorite stores? All you got to do is find out, and then there's a new store. There's a new store coming to Augusta called Trader Joe's. You ever heard of that? It's coming. Trader Joe's is very popular in other parts of the country. It's a grocery store, but it's very popular. And they're going to put one in Evans. They're going to put one in Augusta. Also, another grocery store called Lowe's is coming to Augusta, too. You ever heard of Lowe's? They got one in Aiken. You go in there, man, it's like a grocery paradise. You ever been in there? Well, they're going to bring one here, too. So they're going to be some other places like Wawa's and Buc-ee's and some other places I've seen across the country that's coming here. And I used to go to Wawa's every morning before I went to work, And the thing is, it's like a convenience store, gas station, kiosks for food. It makes all kind of Buc-ee's. They got all kind of food. Everybody been to Buc-ee's? And you walk in there, man, you get lost in that place. They got some of the places got 50 gas pumps or more. But that's coming to Augusta too. So my point is, you already know certain things to invest in because of your habits. I remember with Home Depot, when I first saw one, I'm trying to think, was out in North Carolina, and I went in there, I said, man, this is great. So I did some research. It was back in, I think, the 80s or 90s. I said, this is going to work. And it did. I bought that stock. And back then, I was just buying stocks a little bit at a time because I was mostly doing mutual funds and stuff because I was scared. I didn't know what I was doing. But I did buy stuff I knew. And I did pretty good with Home Depot. I sold that maybe 10 years ago. I should have kept it. But anyway, I'm just giving you some concepts and buy what you know. If you buy what you know, but you got to be able to analyze it too, though. Just don't do willy-nilly. And we'll show you that once you do the hands-on. So if you have a few $1,000s, even less than $100 saved, you still can invest. Because on E-Trade, the one I use, eTrade.com, you can go out there tonight when you go home or on your phone and look at it. That's the one I use. You can invest less. I think the minimum is probably $25, I think, at a time. That way you won't risk a lot of money. See, before the internet, before you can invest yourself, you had to go to a brokerage. You had to go to a broker like Merrill Lynch or, even we had one here in Augusta with Charles Schwab over there where Sprouts is. For people that don't want to do it themselves, you go over there and they'll do it for you. And then you had to pay a commission, and at least they would take us $1,000 for a stock. But see, now with the internet, with the competition, the prices came down. They don't even charge hardly no commissions. There are very few stocks they charge commission anymore. And even when they do charge, it's only $4.95. But that's very few. That's maybe 20% or less they charge a commission. And that's the reason for that. So on page 2, before you start investing your money, you should have at least $1,000. I would recommend put aside in your savings account. And that's optional. You don't have to have it. But I'm just trying to I don't want you taking your emergency money, playing with it. But I always want people to have money to the side, because when you invest, you're taking a risk that you may lose it. That's why I'm only recommending that you use maybe no more than $100 per stock, because I own over 225 stocks over. I think last time I looked at it. I sold 2 stocks today, but I didn't look at the final count. But I bought one and I sold 2. And I did that during my lunch break. And but it's over 220, I know that. So, and I'll show you how you got to look at 220 stocks every day. You just look at the ones that at the top, and then you look at then I'll show you how to look at the changes, and then you can really only look at, out of 200 stocks, you may only look at 10 of them because of the formula I use. because you ain't got time to be looking at 220 stocks. I don't. Wherever it falls is what I decide to do. Now, I just want to get these concepts down. Now, the federal government will insure your money because everybody might not want to invest in stocks. They might want to invest in CDs and stuff, so I don't want to just limit it to that. But you can do all of this because one of the scriptures I want to tell you is to put your money in different places. Then that way you won't have it all risked out. So, you can put up to each bank per person is $250 if that's insured. So if something happens, the government gonna guarantee you that you get your $250,000 back if the bank go belly up. But the riskier market is stock market account, which we're gonna talk about tonight. So look at some definitions. Investment is the purchase of a financial product with an expectation of favorable future return. So you're investing because you're looking for what? To have a return. In general, investments means the use of money in the hope of making more money. So, and that's the whole concept when I be talking about how to maximize your money. Y'all remember I gave that message, how to maximize the money that God gave you. This is what you're investing for. You want to take the money as a seed and you want to increase it. And that's the whole point of investing. And some of us are older, so we don't really have we don't want to be waiting around 20 years to see what the investment is doing. Now we want to, make decisions and see if you can increase your money quicker. And that's what I'm going to show you when we do the hands-on. But like I said, I wanted this show a little bit tonight, but the wireless for some reason not cooperating. This thing works fine at home. I don't know what's going on with the wireless. Maybe it's something that is not picking up. So we already talked about number 2, FDIC, the federal agency that insures deposits. So do not put $250,000 in a bank more. If you need to, go open another account. Don't do it. $250 is the max. Because everything above $250, if the bank go belly up, you're not going to get it back. So you got your regular savings account, so we're going to just go with that definition. You got your CDs, certificate of deposits, where you can get a higher interest rate if you hold it for a year, 6 months or longer. You flip it over. The rates are coming down, so CDs are real good when the rates are high. When they're high, you can make above average than you make in a savings account, but the CDs are still higher than a normal savings account. Then you got the high yield savings account, where you got to put money in there. But you got to put a certain amount for you to be able to get the interest rates on that. All right, so we're going to be talking about, mutual funds. If you look at your 401k, those at work, those items that you invested in are mutual funds. I don't know if y'all know that. They got the names of them, tell you what they do. But 401ks at work are mutual funds. Some 401ks give you the option to go buy stocks, but 99% of the time people are going to just buy mutual funds. And so that's what they are, where you take a fund, you give it a name, you say, okay, this is a small cap fund or S&P 500, which means large cap, and they'll put like a certain number of stocks in that mutual fund and trade them for you. All you got to do is just buy the mutual fund, that's it. And that's what you do with the 401k. So, but that's not an individual stock, because that mutual fund could have anywhere from, like the S&P 500 got 500 stocks in it. And the brochure would tell you how many stocks are in there. So when you invest at work, you should have the literature for it anyway. Now, number 6, stocks. That's the main point of coming here. So we need to understand that a stock, when you invest in a stock, you're taking partial ownership into a company, and they call it equity. So when you hear the word equity, that means that you bought a stock, that you have a certain bought a certain amount of shares that you bought, which means you got an equity stake in it. That's what so you hear the word equity, that's what it means. And it's based on the proportion of the shares you buy based on how much you put in there. Now there's another easier way to buy stocks, and I still got a couple of stocks in number 7. I got Walmart and Cisco Systems. A lot of your networks at work use Cisco. equipment. And I've been, sending that money in there for years. So, and I gave you, I'm gonna give you two names later. And like, if you don't want to play the stocks, you don't want to be the buying and selling, then this is number 7 is alternative buying individual stocks. And you just put like $50 in a month, $100 in a month, and just keep it, let it roll. Then that way you don't have to buy and sell it. You just pick it out. So you got different companies like Home Depot, Walmart, Chevron, Exxon, all the big name companies out there. Amazon. I don't know if Amazon is out there because these stocks pay dividends. So even though you may only invest $50 a month or something in one of these in these direct stock purchase plans, but they also give you dividends back, a percentage of your money back through dividends. And the dividends are a lot higher than the bank is, and they're reinvested. And that's how you build those accounts up too if you want to do that. So, but main thing I'm going to show is number 6 when we do the hands-on. And then of course you got the IRA, individual retirement account that you can open up with an investment company, and it's tax deferred. Most people that got 401ks don't have an IRA, but I have an IRA also that I bought, and so I put money in there still every month. And the IRA, you can't touch the money till you're 59 and a half. If you take it out before that, you're going to get penalized. So that's another good thing about it. If you don't have a 401k at work, I suggest that everybody should have an IRA as a minimum. And then you just let the money come to your account and just let it roll. I don't care how old you are. I mean, 15 years from now, you may wish you'd be glad that you did it. All right, so how much money should you have in a savings account or CDs at a bank before you start investing your money? What did I say to start off with? 1,000. Okay, that's easy. What is the name of the federal government agency that guarantees deposits up to $250,000? Yep, FDIC, that's right. What would you do if I gave you $1,000 in cash? If I wrote you a check right now for $1,000, which I'm not going to do, what would you do with it? But somebody going to get $100 on Sunday. Did I say that? Y'all forgot about that, right? What did I say? Did I say that? Oh, okay. I just want to make sure y'all heard it. Somebody got $50 Sunday. Somebody got an extra $50 Sunday. They been even, well, anyway, they know they got it. So, anyway, we got to call those names out. What would you do with $1,000? Okay, so now if you already got $1,000 in your emergency fund, then you can do that, all kinds of stuff. You can pay down a bill. You can start using that seed money to start investing that we're going to show you. But and no answer is a bad answer, so. And how much, if I gave you $1,000, how much you going to put in the offering? Okay, great. See, we getting it. Don't forget about that now. That's how you get your blessing, see. And I said that Sunday, I said, when you trust in God, that's when you get your favor. When you get your favor, that's when you get your blessings. And when you get your blessings, you thank God for all of that. And then it just happens again, see. So we don't never want to forget. That's what we call. That's why we call this financial Bible class, because it's a hybrid discussion of everyday concepts and biblical scriptures. It's no different on Sunday when we preach a message. A lot of stuff we preaching, even though it's coming out of scriptures, but you applying it to your daily life, right? And so what's the difference between doing it with from finance? It's no different. Especially when God got finances all in the Bible. He wants us to know these things. Any questions before I go to discussion 1? All right, so steps to take before you start investing. So it's time to invest. So we already talked about $1,000, step 1. It's an optional step because I don't want nobody to be held up from doing this if they don't have $1,000 to put to the side. I'm just using that as an optional thing. Try to pay off at least one of your debts or loans first. That's optional. Because I still want us to have good stewardship. I still want you to pay your bill. Because see, this money that you're going to invest is money that you can lose. And it ain't going to stop you from buying groceries. It's not going to stop you from paying your bills. So let's get that straight, too. That's one reason why I wanted people to have like $1,000 to play with at first. But like I said, we can start off with $25, $50. So I think most people can do that without risking, everything else, unless you just ain't got no money. But step number 3 now, I want you to educate yourself, because you don't have to subscribe to nothing. You go online and read these websites. And if you want to, buy like a newspaper like US Today, they got a pretty good financial section. It ain't as good as it used to be, because the paper's just not as good as they used to be. But you can go to Parker's up the street. They sell USA Today's newspaper still. But you can go to money.com. I used to subscribe to money.com for years. I mean, not money.com, but the magazine. But the magazine went digital like 5 years ago. So they don't even produce the magazine anymore. That's what I did first. I started educating myself on financial terms. I was working on my college degree, and I took an elective class in investments. It was an elective. And I did that, but also in 11th grade, I took Miss Bell. They called it. She was our teacher. They called it how to manage your money. It was like a personal finance class. That's what they call them now, but back then they didn't call it that. And I learned everything by Miss Bell. I'll never forget her. She taught us how to write checks, how to budget, how to manage our money. We even played stocks at the newspaper on paper. She taught us how to do it manually, how to even come up with how much you made that day, how much you lost that day, and, how to talk about insurance and buying a house and all that stuff. So even as a 16-year-old, I learned basic concepts then, and then, of course, that kind of pricked my interest, because I already was thinking about stuff anyway. And then when I joined the military, I just started with saving bonds and went from there, from U.S. saving bonds. Because I didn't have a checking account. I didn't eat one. I didn't have no bills. I lived in the barracks, ate at the mess hall. I didn't have nothing. I mean, I was only making $400-$500 a month. I put most of that in my wallet. Then, I just kind of lived off that. I didn't have no bills, so there was no need to have a checkbook. So I didn't even get a checkbook till I was 21, I think, 2021. I made sergeant, so I said, I think it's about time me get a checkbook now. All right, so you see these ones in blue. Those are the ones I recommend you just kind of go out, educate yourself, read that stuff. Kind of go out there and look at it, kind of understand how this stuff works. It'll give you some ideas on some stocks. I'm going to show you how to pick stocks to buy. I'm going to show you how to come up with the formula to determine which ones to buy. And it's pretty simple because I've been doing this for a minute, and I done came up with these little concepts myself. And I understand the terms, so I know what I'm looking for. I'm going to show y'all on the hands-on. All you got to do is look at 3 things. That's it. And you're going to be able to make a decision just like that. It ain't going to take you long. It won't take you long at all if you follow what I do. If you write it down and you do it over and over again, you'll get it. Okay, so you need to plan to invest on a regular basis, number 4, step 4, and consistent for the long term. It's never too late to invest or save, because as long as you live, you're going to need money. So, step 5, choose one of the investment options in discussion number 2. So, we're going to go to discussion number 2 here in a minute. But question number 4, why should you save at least $1,000 before you start investing? Just in case you what? Lose money? Because it's risk. So you got to look at all of that too. So then that way, like I said, if you have that $1,000 to the side in the savings account somewhere and you lose, but see, one thing about the stock market, it's very seldom you're going to lose all your money. You may lose some of it. And I tell people, don't hold it because you think it's going to go back up. After 31 days, it's like you met somebody and you never saw them again. That's how you got to look at it. You can't fall in love with stocks. Once you learn what it does, there's going to be some names you never even heard of that you didn't have no idea was out there, especially these companies making all these new prescription drugs and all this stuff. They got that new drug that come out now, Nova, the GLP-1, where you used to lose weight, you can just stick it in you. Now it's a pill. And then Eli Lilly is coming out with a pill. So now if you want to lose weight, you don't have to, because some people don't like to be stuck, especially if they're doing it themselves. So that's a game changer, because that means a lot of people are gonna lose weight and not be obese again. And I know a guy at work that used that GLP. He done lost like 25, 30 pounds. Oprah Winfrey, that's how she lost all that weight last time. When everybody thought she was on that, what do you call that company that sell those meals? Can't think of it right now. But anyway, she was spoken for them, and they thought she was losing weight from that, and come to find out she was sticking herself. And she had to admit it. But she said it worked, and then you can stop when you want to. Matter of fact, you be seeing a commercial with, what's that girl that played tennis? Serena Williams. How she lost 30 pounds? Yeah, but you gotta read all that stuff. But see, you gotta remember, a lot of people are obese, some people are diabetics, and so you gotta look at the risk from both sides. Do you wanna be overweight and be a diabetic? Or do you want to try to lose some weight? And see, one thing, once you lose the weight, you can stop it. See, you don't have to stay on it. But there's risk in everything you take, right? So, we'll see. But I invest in that company because I know it's going to be a hit, especially for those pills. Because people don't like sticking themselves, I'm telling you. A lot of people can't even watch nobody stick them. We got some blood work done, and people in there I think the head go all the way around so they can't see themselves getting stuck. But that's all right. They stay in there trying to get stuff. So question number 5, in your opinion, what is the beginning percentage amount of your monthly net pay you should try to save and invest on a monthly basis? For example, 5%, 1%, 10%. What will you be comfortable with? Can you start with 1%? 5%? But I would say at least start with 1%. At least start off in investing. You can say, and really you can just pick a number and say $25, $50 per stock. But if you want to have money coming out to a mutual fund, or money going out to the direct stock plans, or you want to go to your 401k, then you need to pick a percentage for that from your salary or your income. But the stocks, I'm going to show you, you don't even need to know the percentage. You just need to know how much you're going to put in there. So we'll start you off at like 25, because I don't want nobody calling me in a panic, because they saw this stock drop 20%. Because that'll happen. And you got to say to yourself, okay, now what's the concept here? Now it's going to drop 20%. It ain't been 31 days yet. Okay, I'm going to stick to it. Now once 31 days come, it's still it's red instead of green. It's time for you to move out my house. Your stay is over. And then I just take that money and buy something else with it, see? And that's how you got to think. Because if you try to think it out too much, you're not going to do it, see? So you got to think like, okay, I lost 10% on this stock, I sold it, which is going to help you anyway, because you got to remember when you buy and sell, you're going to end up you got to report all this stuff to your taxes. So some things you want to have losses so you won't have too much gains, because for each gain you make, it's going to be 20% that the government going to want taxes on. So you got to look at that too, and I'm going to show you all that also. But it'd be worth it. So if you're making money, 20% ain't nothing. So compared to you getting the 80%. In your opinion, why do you want to invest your money? Anybody? Why do you want to invest? Why do you want to go through the headaches of investing it? Do you want to multiply your money? Or are you just satisfied with money being in your savings account making 1% interest or less? Do we want to invest? Because, another thing too, when you retire, you have more time to do this. But you can do it at night too, depending on what your priorities are. It don't take long, because you just go to the account, look at what happened that day, and then you look at, okay, do I want to buy and sell for tomorrow? And you say, okay, I'm going to look at what rose to the top today to see if I'm going to buy it for tomorrow. Then I'm going to look at my losses and see how many of them is over 31 days with no gain. Then I'm going to sell them. And then I'm going to take that money and buy another stock with it. See, what you're doing, you're taking the money that you had, you're churning it. And if you make enough money, it doesn't matter if you make a loss. When I looked at my account today, I think my return on the money was over 50%. Anybody want to make 50% on their money? Well, that's what it says today. It was up 60% last week, but then it went down yesterday. But that's what happens, So, okay, so we're going to go to discussion number 2. How to invest small amounts of money wisely. All right, so you have $50 to invest on a monthly basis. Invest directly to a company with a direct stock purchase and plan. And at the very bottom, I gave you 2 companies that you can use those direct stock purchase plans with those websites, computershare.com and shareowneronline.com. I use both of them. When I first started investing in individual stocks, this is the first thing I did was did these first. Because I just wanted to get my feet wet. And I just started investing like $50 a month in Home Depot. And back when Nokia, y'all remember Nokia? It was the number 1 cell phone company. Y'all remember Nokia? When you went to the store, everybody got a Nokia. There was no iPhone out yet. There was no Samsung. It was either Nokia or who else? Mindspring. I don't know. I can't remember. And I started buying. That was one of the first 2 stocks I ever bought through this Home Depot and Nokia. I got rid of Nokia after the iPhone came out because it just kind of kicked them to the curb, and went to the internet. And then BlackBerry came out. Yeah, BlackBerry came out, and that made Nokia not be. So I just got rid of it. But I bought something else. But I bought Home Depot and them. I just put $50 in a month. You let it ride. But I was buying individual stocks versus mutual funds that has a lot of stocks under the mutual fund. So I wanted to try to get into that, and I did these first with these direct stock purchases. And one thing about the direct stock purchases, they all give you dividends. You get a percentage of your money back based on how many shares you own. That's why they call it direct stock purchase plans, because they have to put out a dividend. Every company don't put out a dividend, especially young companies when they try and take all the money they have and they try to invest it in the company so they can make the product they want. With these established companies, like Exxon and Chevron, all these gas companies and Home Depot and Walmart, they pay dividends because they're established companies, and that's another way for them to attract you to invest into their stock too. Now, most plans require $50 minimum a month. With these, you do not have to go to, you don't have to, I misspelled, I didn't put all the words in. You don't have to go to a stockbroker account because you buy stock straight from the company. So, but when you buy trading, like I do now, you have to get a eTrade.com or a Fidelity account or Schwab, but I use eTrade.com, which is owned by Morgan Stanley. And Morgan Stanley is one of the largest investment firms in the country or in the world. So that means, E-Trade is part of them, but they are backed by a big company. So you got this company you can invest in through these direct stock purchases. Walmart, Home Depot, Lowe's, Macy's, Office Depot. These are big established companies that pay dividends. That's why most people will be comfortable with them, because they know these. I'm sure that y'all bought some in everything I just mentioned. Almost all of them. I bet somebody went to Lowe's last week. Somebody went to Home Depot maybe last month. Somebody been to Macy's to go to after Christmas sales. Who did that? See? But see, when y'all do that stuff, and I own these stocks, y'all making me money, see? So I love to go to the mall and see people walk around buying stuff that I invest in, because then I know, and I watch people. I watch the bags. I watch what people buy. I said, I ain't never heard of that. I said, so, you always ask somebody at work that you get the shoppers, they tell you everything. They tell you what what it is and all the concepts and the new stuff. You ain't got to be a shopper to know that. You just see stuff. You just see it. And then that's when you know if it's a publicly traded stock. Some companies don't trade their stock. They private companies, so they don't put it out there yet. And then you find that out too. So you can go to the company's website, look at the bottom, those two companies, those two entities, they're like agents. You go through them, you have a list of companies you can buy, and you pick it, and you can just put maybe a one-time thing, but if you're going to do this, I suggest you do it on a regular basis. That way you can kind of get an idea of, do I want to trade stocks? And you start buying this. I started with this first, and then I started trading. And then, like I said, I still got Cisco Systems, and I still have Walmart, and I got one in each one of those two things, companies. I mean, two agents. All right. B, invest in mutual funds. And some people may not want to do it, like I said, it's stock. So and when you, like you said, your 401k is mutual funds. Everybody may not know that. You use your 401k at work, and you pick what you want to put it in there. Like you want to do S&P 500. That means that S&P 500 mutual fund that you pick, you just bought 500 stocks under one mutual fund. And each mutual fund has different numbers. Some of you even got 1,000, whatever. But, when you read the brochure, it'll tell you that. And then you can either call the invested mutual fund companies, like at the bottom, like Invesco, T. Rowe Price, people like that. Because I have my mutual funds through two of those companies. I have more. But I've been with Invesco probably since the 90s. T. Rowe Price, I started using them like maybe 2000. And I own multiple mutual funds in those accounts. Like I said, I got money spread everywhere. And that's the money that I put in every month. They just let it go. I don't even look at it. The only time I look at it when I get my quarterly statements. Other than that, I don't even look at it. Because one day I want to sell all this stuff, because I recommend to people all the time that they within 5 years of retirement or they're retired to reduce their risk. And move, not necessarily sell it, but move it to like a money market account. Then that way you won't, if you need the money, you won't be losing it. So that's why on this account that I'm going to show you, that's why this is stuff that you can risk. And then if you lose a little bit here and there, that's fine. But see, another thing too, with me coaching you to a certain extent, I tell you when the market really tank or getting ready to tank, get out of everything. Because we're always going to have now I should say go bankrupt, but I'm just saying the market is going to have 20% dips. It's going to have 30% dips. When we had COVID hit in 2020, stock market went down about 50%. And everybody panicked. I told everybody at work, don't panic. Just keep your money in there, because it's going to come back. Now, if the whole country goes to pot, then we all in trouble. It doesn't matter. It don't matter. But the point, and I told them, don't sell nothing out of your 401k, because you're going to regret it. And about a year later, the stock market recovered, especially when that shock came out. See, so now the best funds to invest in are target retirement funds. The reason why I said it, because they're easy. You just pick your age. It's based on age. So they're going to have funds for people that's your age. Most of the time, they're in 5-year increments. Then that way you just put it in there and let it ride, and you ain't got to worry about it. Because what it'll do, it'll adjust itself. As you get older, it'll get out of riskier investments and start going to more bonds and money market. You don't have to worry about it. And then you just let it ride. And then when you get, they say you set it for 70. And when you get 70, all your money going to be in money market funds. There's going to be nothing in stocks. Everything will be low risk. If you don't want to worry about the risk side. So now you can do rental property. I tell all young people, get you at least one rental property. Get at least one. Because when you get over 60, that's going to be a income, because most likely you're going to have the house sold. I mean, you're going to have it paid off. And let them pay it off. Like you got to start a home, rent it out. I suggest you don't sell it. I know you may say, I want the money out of it. So well, that's fine. But 40 years from now, you're going to wish you hadn't done it. That you wish you hadn't sold it. Because, I mean, your houses are rent now. You get 3-bedroom house. What do you think you're going to pay? $1,300, $1,500. If your house is paid for, that's $1,300 a month going in your bank account. If you have like 2 or 3 of those, because I had rented a property all over the country, because I was lived in different states. And we would buy a house to live in, and we would buy one or two, we would buy some rental property. Now, I sold all of them except for one. And the reason why I sold them, because I wanted to buy the land that we had, that we own now. So I used that money to buy the land and then built the house. But I kept one rental property, and I kept the first one I bought. That's when I was stationed at Fort Gordon. I bought a rental property. I bought a property in South Augusta. I still own it. And that property rents out for $1,300 a month, and it's paid for. Do I need $1,300 a month? Well, I mean, I take whatever I get, but my point is that that's money is being generated. I can do a lot with $1,300 a month. I can save it. I use some of that money to invest in other stuff. It's not that much, but if I had 5 of those, just thinking that's about $6,000 a month. But I sold the other ones I had, so I knew why I did it, because I wanted to reduce my mortgage payment, so that's why I used the other ones to buy the land. So, but any young person, don't rent. I tell those young people at work, when they come to work with us, I say, you need to buy you at least a 2-bedroom condo or something. Don't rent, because you're not making his voice. You're throwing your money down the drain. Well, I don't want to cut grass. Well, pay somebody to cut the grass. We don't want to cut the grass. What you mean? I said, well, you pay a little boy down the street to cut the grass. I said, oh, you good out there. It's good exercise. So the advantage of that is tax deduction too. But one thing about rental property, you can deduct everything. You can deduct the maintenance, you can deduct the insurance, you can deduct the repairs, you can deduct when you drive over there, and you can put the mileage in. You can deduct the miles per gallon based on the government rate. And you can go to gsa.gov, they'll tell you that. You can deduct everything on your house. The only thing you can deduct is really the interest. And that's it. I think they're in the property tax. But on the rental property, you can deduct everything, every cost. I don't care if you pay somebody to cut the grass, you can deduct that. All right. Steps to invest in a stockbroker's account. I highlighted that because this is what I'm gonna show you. But I want to get the rest of it off because I wanted people to understand it's more than just the stocks. It's these other things too. And everything I just mentioned, I done invested in. That's why I know about it. I'm going to tell you something I haven't done. And I still got a lot of these things. I still got the mutual funds. I still got the direct stock plans. Still got the CDs. I still got the savings account. I still got the high yield savings account. I still have those things because I want to diversify. I don't want everything to be in one basket. But steps to invest in a stock brokerage account. Okay, you choose a company. So I'm going to suggest if you want me to help you, you got to choose eTrade.com because I know how to navigate that. I don't have time to really try to learn another brokerage. So I'm just letting everybody know if you want me to help you, and I'm going to show you that. And like I said, I may show you on the laptop. Hey, Brian, the laptop picking up the wireless? Brian, is the laptop picking up the wireless? So he can't go to the website? Okay. All right, so now the ones I recommend are the highly, like Schwab has their office here in Augusta, right down there by Sprouts. Y'all know where Sprouts is over there? Near the Augusta Exchange, right there by the bridge in I-20. And they're a very reputable company. Vanguard is too, but Vanguard don't have an office here in Fidelity. You have to do it online. But E-Trade, you got to do it online too. So they offer low or zero commissions. It used to be you had to pay a lot of commissions. You don't even pay that no more. Except for some stocks that is traded on some exchanges, they may charge you $4.95. Step 2, you open an account. Then you got to go online. You can call them. Because I had Tamara wanted to use the one I was using because she wanted to see. So I told her what to do, and she thought, I just told her, go online, call the people, tell them. They'll tell you how it works, so you can be comfortable with it. And then she applied and did the application, and she set one up. I think that I talked to her, she went in there and did it. Now you can fund the account. You can link your bank account to transfer funds. That's what I do. I just transfer the funds from my bank account to them. You can do it in small amounts. You can do it on a regular basis. I transfer like $120 a week for flow, but sometimes I don't have enough money when I sell stocks, it goes to a money market account, and I just let it sit there till I use it again. Now, when I start getting low on money, that $111 will go in every week, but I also transfer some more money in if I will need more money to buy some stuff. So you select the investments, you do the research, you choose the investments. You can invest small amounts, $35 or less. You can do individual stock or do what we call an exchange traded fund, which works like a stock, but it's more of a mutual fund with different companies under it. I own a couple of them because I own some cybersecurity stocks, but I wanted to buy a whole bunch of more, so I just bought this exchange traded fund that had a lot of cybersecurity stocks under that. Then that way I want to buy them individually. And you select the number of shares, you hit the button, and the dollar amount goes through, and you see that you own a company, own part of a company. You monitor and maintain, so you got to go look at it. I do most of my monitoring on Friday mornings when I'm off. I don't work on Friday, so that's when the stock market opened up at 9:30, and by 10 o'clock I started looking at it. More intense than I would during the week, because during the week I don't have time. And then I may make multiple buys and sells that day, or because I probably be on the computer about an hour then, because I'm looking at different things on that particular day. But every day, 10 minutes, that's it. If I do it during the week. So you got to monitor it. Anybody got any questions before I go through the financial Bible? Yes, you got a mic? Now, a lot of people that are watching on Facebook and they're not here tonight, I can't help them. I'm giving them this sheet, let them read it, but I'm not doing this over. I've been talking about this for 2 months. Yes.
You said that, I think in some of your accounts, you said after 31 days of days.
After 31 days, if they're making no money, I sell it.
But now I always heard kind of like the opposite of it. It's two different things. They said you got to be consistent because the market always fluctuates. It always
does,
down and up.
But I have a formula. It's 31 days. It don't make no money. I'm telling you to get out my house.
So you just
and then I'm gonna bite somebody else in.
So that's kind of like if somebody would just had a 401k plan, right?
That's different.
That's different. Okay,
yeah,
so
because
it's two different.
We talking about this. I wish I could show y'all that, and I might show you on my phone.
Yeah.
But anyway, we talking about an account. Like I said, I use eTrade.com where you go in and you buying and selling, you trading stocks. When you do a 401k or IRA, that means you're making consistent monthly investments and you just letting it ride. You're not monitoring it, you're just letting it go. Like you got it at work. But this is when you have to monitor it and you buying individual stocks. And this, to me, is the fastest way to increase your count in a short period of time. 401k is long-term, IRA is long-term, but you're not looking at it. Like I use my mutual funds, my 401k, I don't even look at it at all. Once I pick it for the whole year, I just let it go. Half the time, I don't even know what my 401k is worth. Because it's one of those things you do for long-term. Same thing with IRA. I don't look at it every day. The only time I really look at either one of them is when I get my quarterly statements. Other than that, I don't look at it. But this thing, trading stocks now, you can't be sitting on that. You got to watch it. It's a difference. It's like your kids. Some kids you have to watch and some you don't. And you know which ones you have to watch. So the same thing with investing. Every child's not the same. This is my child. How come this child is different? Well, somebody done passed down that gene to them. They done jumped past y'all and got on them. So, but that's why I want to do the hands-on, because when you see the hands-on, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So you're trying to show something you can't see right now. All right. So the other scriptures. You had a question? Yes.
Well, you kind of partially already answered my question. I have a Fidelity IRA.
Okay.
And I say, periodically, it just an automatic, deposit into
Did you set it up yourself, right?
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
Actually, I kind of rolled it over.
From your 401k?
From where, yeah.
Okay.
And.
Which is a good idea when you leave a job, yes.
So I've noticed that it.
What you put it in, though? What kind of mutual fund?
Gold and, is that what I'm? Gold and money market is actually in
money
there
market
together.
is pretty stable. And gold, I own gold too, and I'm going to show you that too, how to invest in gold. I believe gold going to keep going up.
And it actually 100% kind of doubled lately, but
Then it went down.
I didn't mess with it.
No, you ain't got to mess with it.
That much
It
just
gonna do,
leave it.
you ain't got to touch it. One day you're looking at it, you smile, next day what happened? If you've invested in Bitcoin lately, you've been hurting the last 6 months. But I've been buying more because it's going to go back up.
So that was my question.
Yeah, but like I said, when you look at these stocks, you have to understand that these are riskier and you're making quick decisions, but it's going to benefit you because we're in the stock market, the economy is doing pretty good, but there's going to be a time where the economy is going to go into a recession like it always does, and then you got to decide, well, do I want to keep, to wait till the recession is over with? Because most recessions last less than a year. And then you see the stocks going back up. So, but for the satisfied people with losses, I say when it's in there for 31 days in a stock brokerage account, sell it. Then that way you selling before stuff get bad. See? And then that way you gotta be selling all the stuff at one time. Anybody else got a question before I go to the scriptures?
Pastor Brian, I got a question. Say if I have $300 a month that I can spend in stocks,
Right.
disposable income, how much of that would I put in a high risk and then low risk?
Well, what you do when you invest in stocks, I'm going to show you two concepts on how to determine what's high risk and what's low risk. And I didn't go over this tonight because it don't make no sense to talk about it if I can't show you on the screen. Now you got some companies out there that they're not making money, but they're making money, but their stocks are going up because the investors believe when they start making money that they're going to make big profits. So they, put money in there so they can keep developing like medicine. Like most of the medicine we get developed from these smaller companies, they're not making money, but they got investors like me putting money in there because you believe in the concept that they're going to, once they get the thing developing and get past the government, they're going to make money. So then you got the ones that earn money, and those are lower risk. And I'm going to show you how to pick those. Like when I buy stocks on a certain day, on Tuesday and Thursday, I only buy stocks that make money. Monday and Wednesday and Friday, I buy stocks that don't make money. I mean, what I mean by don't make money, not make money on the stock. They don't have a profit yet. That's what I mean. And so how do the companies, they have a profit? Because they got investors that keep infusing the money into the company until they can get a profit. And those are the riskier ones. So I don't want to be totally in the companies that don't make a profit. So that's why on Tuesday and Thursday I make myself only invest in companies that make a profit. I mean, like Tesla, when it first came out, it took them a long time to make a profit, but now they're making, profit. Amazon, same way. These new companies that you see established, when they first came out, they wasn't making no profit because they was trying to reinvest the money that they was getting to make the company profitable later. And you have to believe in that, but if you don't want to invest in companies that's not profitable, then I show you how to know which ones are profitable and which ones are not. Then that way you can have, you take less risk. So I'm going to tell you that some of the trends that are going on right now, since we got a little bit more time, I said I'm going to do about an hour, is it working? Okay, go to etrade.com. See, can you get to etrade.com? Maybe I was going to show you on my phone, but if that's going to work, then I can show you over there. Can you put it on the table? Like, let me read the scriptures first. Proverbs 27:23, King James Version said, "Be thou diligent to know the state of thy flocks and look well to thy herds." This concept is based on, somebody looking at their stock and their flocks and making sure they're healthy, the wolves are not trying to eat them. But this same thing with your investments. You got to look at them to make sure that you're doing the right thing, you're monitoring them, and, you're making the right decision. It's the same thing. it's a different concept of using the scripture. Like if Ecclesiastes 1 in chapter 1 verse, I'm going to say chapter 11 verse 2, it says, give a portion to 7 or even divide it to 8, for you do not know what misfortune may occur on earth. And that's why I said you spread your investments out. So that way you don't have your money in risk. You know, you got some money in rental property, you got your money, you even got money in your house that you making a mortgage. That's an investment. You got money in 401k at work, you got an IRA. You got a savings account. How many on account? Like 5 things already. You got CDs. You know, you got a stock brokerage account. You got a direct stock plan. That's 9. That's what 8 things I named already. So you spread your money out so you won't. So if some go down, at least it won't wipe you out totally. So that's why I went over all this stuff, because I want people to know is what I'm going to show you is dealing with stock. But the matter of fact, when I get ready to show this, Brian, go ahead and cut Facebook off, because this is only for members. Sorry, you're not a member, I can't help you. I gave you the concept, so don't come join the church and then leave next week. I told somebody that, they looked at me like, that ain't your bear. I said, well, sorry. You can come to this for free. I made a lot of copies too, because I figured some people, I want y'all to pass these out to your family members, especially young people, because a lot of times we just don't know. We just don't know. And I didn't know. But I keep telling you a story about when I was 14, what I asked God to do. He asked God for wisdom when it comes down to money management. And he not only gave me the wisdom, but he gave me some kind of urge to do more. I don't know what you call it. I can't put my fingers on it. But I know when I took that class when I was 16 years old at Glen Hills High School with Miss Bell, the light bulb burst. I said, now I can do this. That got me going until I was able to get a job and join the military and start saving money and putting stuff to the side. So sometimes it takes a light bulb, and hopefully I can, do the light bulb with different people. But it's never too late. Now, for some people, I don't want to wait 20 years to invest in a 401k and IRA. Well, I'm giving you another chance where you can make more money quicker. You see what I'm saying? So that way you ain't got to wait. Now you still should have your 401k and IRA to the side, because I remember one time we were giving a class, and I said, most people say they want to live to 90, right? Didn't I hear that? Who don't want to live to 90? Nobody? Well, now think about how long that is. How many years is that? At least 25, 30 years? You still got to, you still got time. People living to 90. Daddy almost made it 90. He was 4 months short, 5 months short. And he would have made it if he didn't have that bad heart valve. He would have made it, because everything else he had was fine. I think Daddy wanted to live to 100. He told Brother Bill, they used to go to, y'all know Brother Bill? He told Brother Bill he wanted to live to 100. So, I don't know if I want to live to 100. All right, you cut it off, Brian? Okay. All right, let me get this.